Hallelujah, what like Yahweh Basham Yahushua Basham Kokodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that rule and teach well. Peace and salutations to the brothers and the four corners of the city of Oceanus with the truth and in sincerity. And with my heart is asking, Shalom. Here once again with another short video, another part of the, a part of the inevitable playing out before our eyes. You understand? The title of the article here that we have here. So, right? The title of the article is World Economic Forum Stooge Mark Carney vows to sever all ties with US, right? With the US of A. You know what I mean? Great America. Right? So we go down the article. You know what I mean? I mean, bring understanding to through the scriptures because all these things are written out. You know how two precepts jotted down, but whatever comes through the spirit, you know what I mean, comes. Right? So it says Mark Carney, Canada's new Prime Minister and WEF young global leader, has vowed to sever all ties with the United States. In his stunning declaration, he proclaimed the end of the nation's historic relationship with its southern neighbor, setting a stage for a dramatic shift in policy. Now we know the last Prime Minister was Trudeau, right? And he started he was adamant on the censorship and so on and so forth of the internet over there in Canada. Yeah, he was part of that. He was spearheading that. So now the rulership, the kingdom changed. The rulership of the kingdom over there in Canada changed hands. So to speak. So yeah. So let me continue on. It says taking office without ever facing voters. The former central banker has quickly distanced Canada from its largest trading partner and closest ally. Carney, Salakia, known for his globalist affiliations, is now pivoting toward European elites while pushing a bold, controversial overhaul of the Canadian economy. Moves that have already sparked alarm among city critics and US officials alike. Reports the Gateway Pundit.com reports Carney's announcement came Thursday during a press conference in Ottawa where he railed against Trump's permanent 25% tariffs on Canadian vehicles and auto parts, calling them a very direct attack on Canadian workers. Right now, here what's going on. Remember, Trump say as of April 2nd, any country that has any dealings with Venezuela will receive a 25.7% tariff. This includes us here in Trinidad and Tobago, right? But we are getting into that too much. Let's stick to the article, right? Carney, our biggest challenge as a country is becoming the most urgent. Over the coming weeks, months, and years, we must fundamentally reimagine our economy. We will need to ensure that Canada can succeed in a drastically different world. The old relationship we had with the United States based on deepening integration of our economies and tight security and military cooperation is over. What exactly the United States does next is unclear, but what is clear is that we as Canadians have agency, we have power, we are masters in our own home, we can control our destiny, we can give ourselves much more than any foreign government, including the United States, can ever take away. We can deal with the crisis best by building our strength right here at home. It will take hard work, it will take steady focus and determination from governments, from businesses, from labor, from Canadians. Okay. We will need to dramatically reduce our reliance on the United States. We will need to pivot our trade relationships elsewhere, and we will need to do things previously thought impossible at speeds we haven't seen in generations, but we can make ourselves more productive and therefore more competitive. We can break down internal trade barriers, we can build a stronger and more resilient economy. That's what I am squarely focused on as your Prime Minister. All right. It says President Trump on Wednesday adjusted tariffs on foreign made cars to impose 25% tariffs on imported passenger vehicles, sedan, SUV, crossover, minivans, cargo vans, and light trucks, as well as key automobile parts, engines, transmissions, powertrain parts, and electrical components with processes to expand tariffs on additional parts if necessary. This comes as the president's executive order, which will impose sweeping reciprocal tariffs on every country that charges the United States taxes or tariffs on import goods, is scheduled to take effect on April the 2nd. You see what I say? The White House and President Trump have repeatedly referred to April 2nd as Liberation Day. Right? They are saying it's Liberation Day, but the country is liberating themselves from the relationships they have with the US. I would like to see what is in store for Trinidad and Tobago, because we need a shake up. You know what I mean? We are overdue for a shake up for something, because we too comfortable in this twin island. We take everything as a joke for granted. You know what I mean? Everything we do take for granted is folly. Parties and doing all sort of wicked acts. That is the only thing we do take for folly. Anything serious, we Trinidadians really don't care about it. You know? And now the people of America are saying, well, what going on? Even the brother particle in the group chat saying even the Americans are anxious about, Trump and this tariff run he having, imposing tariffs on everybody, and how they go affect them as well. You know? So even Canada, one of the closest, the country closest more or less to them, one of the countries closest to them, even saying, "Yo, what's going on? We have nothing to do with all the way." You understand? We don't like how they does deal. Right? I go to the book of Isaiah. Isaiah 33. Verse 1. It says, "Woe to thee that spoilest, and thou wast not spoiled, and dealest treacherously, and they dealt not treacherously with thee. When thou shalt cease to spoil, thou shalt be spoiled, and when thou shalt make an end to deal treacherously, they shall deal treacherously with thee." Yeah, and this is the scripture has many folds to it. You understand? Because that was a treacherous move, imposing a tariff on the ally. You know what I mean? These is things is due to countries who not on such good terms with you. You know what I mean? Like, all you have an understanding, all you have an agreement, but for the most part, all you're not too, buddy, right? But what the Prime Minister Kani, saying is that we don't want nothing to do with all you, because we're looking to put we on the red line, but we on the chopping block, so to speak, right? And he's not standing for that for people. You understand? All this is signs of the times, all this is signs of the times, because the pump is being brought down. You understand? The pump of America, the great America, the pride. You know what I mean? According to Biden, America is a country of pride. Right? That pride is being brought low. You understand? People are retaliating. Yeah? They're not standing for the BS anymore. Right? Because what they do is they say one thing, but they only seek their own benefit. you know, because as Trump's slogan is MAGA, make America great again, right? Have everybody dependent on them again, right? They want all the cake, all the pie, you understand? They want peace, you know, this kind of way. Sirach 14 and verse 7. It says, so, yeah, 7. And if he do it good, he doeth it unwillingly, and at the last he will declare his wickedness. Right? He will declare his wickedness. That's it. So Trump doing things that seeming good or seeming, you know what I mean, they releasing a sort of classified documents and so on and so forth, and you know what I mean, saying, well, you know what I mean, immigrants could come here and go to school at whatever, you know what I mean, thing, and that it would be okay, they will get a green card to go to college here and university and, you know what I mean, be part of our educational system and so forth. That would seem like a good thing. But he has an ulterior motive. They all have ulterior motives. You understand? Because this is a plot to a bigger scheme. Right? This is a plot to a bigger scheme. Don't just watch it as something that could happen today for today. This is a plot for 3 months down the line, 2 months down the line, who knows? Right? So the whole make America great again thing or scheme is starting to more or less backfire on them. Because why? They're dealing treacherously. You understand? So now nobody do want nothing to do with them. Even countries in NATO and the EU want to pull away from them. You know what I mean? That is in the local news. You can look at up countries pulling away from them. You know? They don't want nothing to do with these people. Right? They want to rely on their own standards, their own, you know what I mean, their own means of doing things. They don't want to have to take the leadership of America, right? Or being allied much with them. In other words, they don't want to be dependent on them, and that is what America counts on, countries being dependent on them. Right? So the same way Kanye was saying this is a direct attack to Canadian workers, right? Is the same way it will affect American workers, right? Because in America there is a book of Ecclesiastes 12 and I will start from 3 verses, and the point is in verse 4. Right? It says, in the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease, because they are few, and those that look out of the windows be darkened. Right? And when that term keepers of the house, that goes back to the word economists, right? Because when you go into the word economy, it means the keeping of the house. You understand? More or less, you know what I mean? Do your research. You could go into the word for yourselves, right? It has to do with keeping the house, or keeping the books, or keeping the record of what economy is. You know what I mean? So this precept is about the economic state of Babylon, right? It says, and the doors shall be shut in the streets when the sound of the grinding is low, like the sound of the work is low. You understand? Work will be low, and he shall rise up at the voice of a bird, and all the daughters of music shall be brought low. You understand? So the same way they want to take the bread out people mouth, the same way bread will be taken out of his own citizens' mouth. But that wouldn't matter to him. All that matters is that he has his agenda to push and complete by a certain time. And when he done with hero, they go put next one in his stead. You You know what I mean? Abaratazite ends with him, so you know what I mean? Yo, Shai could come and wipe this place out, wipe this place clean, you know? Because by him trying to make America solely great again, he cutting out all the countries or allies that he have, right? And that is just setting them up even more, you know what I mean? To have more enemies in that day, and that day Armageddon, right? And on that note, I hope it was edifying, I hope it was enlightening through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, Bashem Kakodash. Until next time, Shalom.